All right. Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? It's me, Chef McKay, yet again. We'll be doing 3 really simple, really easy recipes over the course of tonight. Total cost of tonight's dinner actually came out under what I had set for myself, so we'll be cooking at $45. So yay! Very first thing we'll be cooking today are bacon-wrapped Brussels sprouts. It's a really easy, really simple recipe, but I think it turns out fantastic every time I do it. It is one of my favorites. I did Brussels sprouts tonight because I found them on sale, so normally they aren't a particularly cheap item, but if you do your shopping right, you can find them for cheap every so often. So, for the very first part of this recipe, we're going to need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, unless you're trying to get tipsy, though. Considering we'll be baking these, it is highly unlikely you get drunk from consuming them. Next, you'll need 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard is one of those ingredients. I will eventually get around to this. It was suggested by a viewer that I make a kitchen essentials video, and I just go over items that I would always keep in stock in a well-stocked kitchen, even if it's a budget kitchen. Oh yeah, budget. Brussels sprouts are fantastic when they are cooked properly, and this is one way that makes them turn out super good with very minimal effort. So, once you have your 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh parsley. Alternatively, if you don't have chopped fresh parsley, crushed dried parsley, is an acceptable substitute. And I actually, for this recipe, would actually think that the crushed parsley would work better. Unfortunately, I made a mistake and didn't check my kitchen first, so I don't actually have crushed parsley tonight. So I'm having to make do with fresh parsley. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You'll get the same results. You do want to chop it nice and fine, though, or else this recipe will go a little leafier than you'd probably want it. It's going to be fairly leafy anyway, given that it's, Brussels sprouts. I just sharpened my knife, so good cuts today. There's a tablespoon of that. And then you're going to want to grab just a regular spoon and give this concoction a little whisk so it's all nice and well mixed up so that it will spread easily. This is going to go on top of the Brussels sprouts once they're wrapped in bacon. I love cooking with okra. It is one that you can get very wrong, though, if you don't know what you're doing. I personally love okra, though. It is one of my favorite vegetables. A good fried okra is what I usually prefer to do with okra. Or air-fried okra, if I'm trying to avoid oil. That's something I'm probably going to cover one of these days. Air frying. It's a wonderful cooking method. Unfortunately, it does require the purchase of a technology, an external device that most kitchens don't normally have. Fortunately, air fryers have gotten less expensive throughout the year. So you're going to want to get your Brussels sprout. You approximately a quarter of the... Yeah, I like my okra nice and firm. Sorry about my dog. He's being a little uppity tonight. Once you get your bacon nicely wrapped around your Brussels sprout, you're going to want to put a toothpick through it. That way it doesn't slide off while you're brushing it. You don't want to completely, envelop. You do want some of the Brussels sprout to show through, but you do want a good wraparound. Yeah, mushy okra is kind of the death knell of okra in general. At least for me. I think okra should be nice and crispy. Not quite raw. Raw okra, has that weird waxy taste that I'm not a fan of. But firm enough that you can still get some crunch. I think that for me it's the same with Brussels sprouts. I know some people like their Brussels sprouts to basically be mush. I think Brussels sprouts are better when they're just a little bit firm. That way you're not eating mush. So this recipe calls for 340 grams of Brussels sprouts. And it will make 6 portions. It's a little odd because I'm doing the pork roast later tonight, actually immediately after this, which will be 8 portions. So if you are doing this as all one recipe like I'm doing, tonight we are making bacon wrapped. Unfortunately, I don't have a tripod right now. I can try to get some cans to put my camera up, but right now it's just sitting on the windowsill. Tonight we're making bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts, chocolate lava cake, and ginger spiced pork roast. And my dog, if he doesn't shut up. I'm actually going to get this out of the way so I can get a proper cutting board for meat. You don't want to use a wooden cutting board for meat. You can, but it requires an additional cleaning process that just genuinely makes it not quite as worth it. Do you want me to raise the camera up a little bit? See if we can get something under to prop it up? I can do that. I can pause for a second and fix that if you'd like a better view. If you don't do pork, this Brussels sprout recipe will work without the bacon. It's honey Dijon, it's Dijon Brussels sprouts at that point instead of bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts. Which, I've made those before. Those are fantastic. Actually, that's a staple of my family get-togethers. We make those Brussels sprouts because they're so stinking good. But yeah, I can raise the camera up slightly, not too high. I can also adjust the tilt to try to give you guys a better view of what I'm doing down here on my workstation, if you like. Or I can keep it where it is. Up to you guys. I don't mind taking a moment to... I can raise it up to fit more of the workstation. That's not a problem. Should I do that? Anyway, I'm thinking next Friday, I'm not going to do a full stream, but I might make a quick video about kitchen essentials or pantry essentials for the budget kitchen. Is that something you guys might have interest in? You know, just common ingredients that I'm always using and always running across and always kicking myself when it turns out I don't have it. Stuff that I, always end up needing, no matter what recipe I'm doing. Even if, tonight, all except for the dessert will have pork in it, yes. The dessert is chocolate lava cake. No pork, because it is cake. That would be a very interesting take on cake if you were doing pork lava cake. I will actually do a couple of these Brussels sprouts as the vegetarian option, just to show that you can do it. Also, I'm not super high on bacon right now, so we'll just have to suck it up and embrace the suck. Traditionally, or for safety, if you are cooking for vegetarians or for people who have food allergies against pork or any food allergen, if you are doing a separate dish for them, you'll want to do an entirely separate pan and prep station, just to avoid any type of cross-contamination. But since I'm mostly just cooking for myself tonight, as I always do, I will be skipping that for the sake of brevity, because I have 3 recipes to get through tonight. And I'm not exactly ready for an all-nighter. As fun as that would be, I'm sure, watching me cook for 24 hours, I think I'd run out of recipes and ingredients really quick. So tonight's meal, as I mentioned last stream, is an excellent Christmas dinner. Ginger spiced pork is one of those old recipes from the olden countries that just keeps on going. I'm honestly surprised it doesn't get more love, because it is a fantastic recipe. It is a little tricky to get exactly right, but when you get it right, it turns into a delicious dish. Again, if you don't do pork for whatever reason, because that is a common one that people don't do. The marinade that we'll be making for the pork tonight is entirely suitable for chicken and turkey. I wouldn't recommend beef. It's a little on the sweet side for beef. For me, I try to keep beef, the rare times that I cook it, savory. Where tonight's recipe is rather sweet. Cooking marathon. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready to do that. Not unless I had, guests here who could try the food I'm cooking. And even then, it would most likely not revolve around what I'm actually cooking. All right, so we've got our. Give me just a moment. I'm going to wash my hands and I'll adjust everything so you guys can get a better view of what I'm going to be doing with the Brussels sprouts. All right. Oh, something I forgot to mention about this recipe. You're going to want to set your oven to 400 on convection if you can do convection. Or 355 on convection if you can do convection. 400 if you can't. Convection bake gets more airflow through the oven, so you get more even temperatures. Not every oven is equipped with the convection option. That's why I've mentioned the conventional oven. Uh-oh, my brush is missing. Just a moment. I need a technical difficulty screen, don't I? Is signal good? We're not dropping frames, are we? All right, sorry about that. looks like it's not on my end, I hope. All right. Are we... okay. Are we still buffering like crazy? Or... Okay, well, in order to avoid long pauses where I just stand here and gab to myself, I'm going to keep going and hope YouTube tries to buffer. So we are going to glaze our vegetarian ones first, just as a good practice to avoid cross-contamination, although it doesn't really matter tonight. Not gonna drown it in the glaze, but enough that we'll be able to get some of that lovely flavor, and then we'll move on to the other ones. Again, we're not trying to drown it in this Dijon, but just enough to give it that lovely, lovely French zing that Dijon is known for. After this, we'll be moving on to preparing the marinade for our pork loin. You can do this marinade with just about anything, except you could try it with beef. I don't recommend it with beef. It is meant for lighter meats like pork. Chicken would be okay. Turkey would be a good one. I haven't really cooked enough with lamb to know if it would go well with lamb. I do know it would go well with rabbit, though. That is one weird meat that I have cooked with. Well, if it drops again, I do apologize. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it's not on my end. Hopefully it's YouTube being YouTube. So these make a great party food, in my opinion. Great for like finger food because they're on the toothpicks. Just don't cook them too long, or else you could catch your toothpick on fire because it is wood. You'll also burn everything else in the process because wood doesn't catch on fire that quickly. But make sure you keep an eye whenever you're cooking something. Don't want to get distracted and come back to have charcoal. Which I have done. That was an embarrassing day. That was a waste of ribs. Went from ribs to burgers. That was embarrassing. But hey, that's part of cooking. That's part of learning how to cook. You make mistakes and you learn from them. You can bet your ass I never walked away from ribs again. I babied them. Even when I didn't need to. Just because I didn't want to have to... Because that's a good chunk of money throwing a rack of ribs away because you charcoalized it. Anyway, we're almost done with our Brussels sprouts. They're just about ready to go into the oven. And then we'll move on to our marinade. And we will have fun with that one. Because normally you want to marinate for at least 2 hours, but general rule of thumb, the longer you cook a marinade, the longer you wait a marinade, the better it comes out. All right, so our Brussels sprouts are ready to go into the oven. They're going to be in the oven for hold on, 45 minutes. So they're going to be a long-term fix. Fortunately, that gives me plenty of time to move on to the pork tenderloin marinade. All right, so first off, you're going to want a container for this all to go into. I have this handy-dandy Tupperware, so we'll be using that. Secondly, let me pull up my recipe real quick. All right, so first off, you're going to want to start with 4 cloves of garlic. It's a very, very, very garlic-heavy recipe. 4 cloves is a lot. For those of you who aren't big into cooking, that's quite a bit of garlic for one item. Grab my garlic press real quick. Oh, did I put that in this? Yes, okay. Alright, so this is a garlic press. So you're going to want to put 1 clove in at a time and squeeze it in. It will come out nice and noodly like that. That's what you want. You can buy pre-minced garlic. I don't know. I've never had good luck with pre-minced garlic. It always has this weird vinegary taste for me. Garlic is not super expensive at most grocery stores as long as you're not buying like the super premium organic stuff, which you don't really need. Garlic is one of those herbs that is really just good no matter what you do. I have used pre-minced garlic in the past to varying success. It really depends on the brand I buy. Sometimes it has this weird vinegary aftertaste. Sometimes it's just straight garlic, but it doesn't have a shelf life. So it's it's hit or miss. But fresh garlic is not overly expensive, so it's something I'm happy to throw a little bit of time in, or a little bit of money into getting the fresh version of. Alright, so after we get our garlic all in, we're going to need our grated ginger roots. This is a fun one. I know last time we used dried ginger. I had a little extra funds, so I splurged a little bit and got some fresh ginger root today. And we will be making use of that. For those of you who haven't seen fresh ginger, this is what it looked like. It's kind of a really, really witchy looking thing. I know I said a correct measurement, but I will actually just be going until I feel there's enough. I normally wouldn't do that with ginger, given how strong an herb it is. It is an incredibly strong herb if you get fresh ginger. But given that this is a marinade and there will be water involved and it will help dilute the strength of the ginger, we're going to go a little bit heavier than you normally would. If I was using ground ginger, I would stick exactly to the measurements. Just because ground ginger tends to have that weird potency over fresh ginger. There are plenty of recipes you can make using fresh ginger. I've made my own ginger ale before. That was fantastic. Great with vodka. For me, I always run into the problem that store-bought ginger ales never have quite enough ginger for me. So I always find myself lacking. All right, so next we're going to need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Some people will always say, oh, go heavier on the brown sugar. I say go with exactly what it calls for. Brown sugar tends to overpower other flavors if you put too much of it. It is a fantastic ingredient for baking because it's a very, very dense and very easily dissolved sugar. I don't know how the YouTube studio latency thing works. I'm still trying to learn that. All right, so next, you're going to want a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, crushed red pepper. It's not coming off. These are another item that I would keep readily available, just because of how useful they are as an actual ingredient and as a topping and as a garnish. Okay, 20 seconds. Good to know. That's actually really good to know. I was thinking I was a whole minute behind. Then you're going to want to add a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cayenne pepper. And a 1/4 teaspoon of another incredibly potent spice, ground cloves. Cloves is one of those ingredients that even a tiny amount will overpower anything you're cooking with it if you overdo it. Anytime you do cloves, try to stick exactly with what it calls for, or err on the side of caution and go for less. You can always add more cloves if you need to. You can't take away cloves. Cloves is brutally potent. Then you're going to want a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. It's a very peppery dish. and 1½ teaspoons of salt. 2, 3. All right. Then you're going to want to get two teaspoons of orange zest. That's not a lot. Given that you will be adding water into this recipe, feel free to add a little bit more just so you can make sure you get that orange zestiness that is so delicious. Make sure while you are zesting your oranges that you don't actually get into the fruit of the orange. While it won't severely damage you'll have to help me play around with it off camera. For now, we'll just deal with stream latency. Anyway, back to the zest. You don't want to actually get into the fruit of the pulp of the orange. It won't kill your meal, but it is a different set of flavors from the orange zest to the orange fruit. Okay, I will do that for next time. But yeah, if any of you have ever eaten an orange peel, you can attest to that it's a very different flavor coming off the peel than it is coming from the actual fruit. All right, so there we have all the ingredients save for 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So just a little bit. And then we're going to grab some water. And we're going to give it a quick mix with a whisk. Make sure everything mixes in nice and smooth. That smells delicious already. But it will smell even better when it's applied to the pork and cooked. Obviously, you wouldn't want to. Alright, so I took the liberty of pre-slicing our pork to help it marinate a little better. This recipe will work with whole pork loin. This recipe will work with chicken breast. This recipe will work with turkey breast. And I'm willing to bet it would go well with just about any meat that you could find as a holiday meal. You want to make sure you get a nice coating on every piece of meat. But you don't want to have too much water, or else you will dilute your solution and you will lose any potency that the marinade would have had, which is, counterproductive. This pork I got was on a killer deal. It was all of this for $4, plus the batch I made yesterday, so that we can go ahead and cook without having to wait 2 hours for this marinade, which is nice. Some little cooking show magic. Through the magic of editing, I have this one all ready to go. Alright, so once you get your marinade and your meat all mixed in, make sure everything's nice and covered, that you're not leaving anything out to dry. You want to give it, seal it up, and put it in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours. However, we are in a hurry. Not really, but, you know, I don't want to hold you all hostage for that. So, I did prepare 8 pork chops yesterday. 8 similar slices of pork tenderloin. For today. All nice and marinated. You're going to want to lay those out on your baking sheet, lined with tinfoil. You don't have to line it with tinfoil, it just helps with the removal. Makes getting them off the tray and onto the plate a lot easier. These had all day to soak, so they are going to be very well marinated. All right. Let me just triple check. I'm pretty sure I made sure that these could go in the oven at the same time as the Brussels sprouts. With pork, you want to make sure that you get an internal temperature of 135. With these, it's not too difficult given how thin they are. Yes, I can put these in at the same time. They will go in for 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how well done you like your pork chops. I like mine a little crispier, so we'll be going for about all right. Which brings us to our final recipe of the night. Our almond butter chocolate lava cake. This one is one I enjoyed doing. So I looked this recipe up because I always got told, oh, you can't do lava cakes. They're too time consuming. They're too expensive. Not so if you do them right. I just need 1 egg before I can start. All right. So, the almond butter chocolate lava cake. All right, so first thing, you're going to want to mix all your ingredients. And as always, the recipes for all of these items will be available on Chef McKay, as well as images of the finished product not long after the stream goes up. That way, if you do want to make any of these yourself, you'll be free to. All right. I need my tablespoon back. There it is. Alright. So, you need 1 large egg, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. You can do it with sweetened, unsweetened. or like I like to do, special dark, because I love dark chocolate. I think dark chocolate is some of the best. So you need 3 tablespoons of that. 1, 2, 3. Then you'll need some granular sugar, another 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, or coconut milk if you are non-dairy. I am not non-dairy, so I will be indulging in the richness of heavy whipping cream. 2 tablespoons. One-quarter teaspoon of baking powder. A pinch of sea salt, and as usual with my desserts, I have my lovely Baker's chocolate licorice salt. A little pinch of that. And 1 teaspoon of the extract of your choice. Normally, I like to do vanilla. However, I happen to have some rum extract on hand, and it is one I find quite enjoyable, almost as much as vanilla. And I think chocolate lava rum cake sounds delicious. Alright, so once you get all your ingredients, except for your almond butter, that is the last thing to go in, all in a bowl, you're going to want to mix it up nice and well so that you don't have any pockets of unmixed ingredients and you have a nice even batter. This is a recipe I actually used to make at work whenever I was craving chocolate because it doesn't require anything special. It's a very simple, very easy 5-minute recipe for lava cake. And who can say no to lava cake? I mean, if you don't like chocolate, you can say no to lava cake. But, you know. Alright, so you want to get your batter nice and thick. Then you want to get your almond butter or peanut butter or Nutella or whatever you want to use as your inner filling. Hell, if you were, going for death by chocolate that evening, you could absolutely even do, a chocolate bar. Anyway, you want 2 tablespoons. You want to drop that right in the middle. And then you want to lightly, using your same fork that you've been mixing, get some of that batter to cover the almond butter. And voila. Then, all you need to do is throw it in the microwave for 1 minute. And that's it. That is 5 minutes lava cake. And I was absolutely astounded when I found that recipe, because every time I'd ask someone, let's make lava cake, and they always told me, it's too much of a hassle. And I just did that in 5 minutes, and that's going to make me some lava cake. So, lava cake you could make at work on shift. Assuming you bought all the ingredients and stored them somewhere at work, and you have a microwave at work. But, you'll be the envy of all your coworkers eating lava cake you made, if they give a shit. If not, yay for you, you have chocolate. Alright, there's the zinger for our lava cake. We're actually going to give that 15 more seconds. That is a common feature with that is a common feature with microwaves. You never know exactly how they're going to turn out, because every single microwave has a different thing there. Some cook faster, some cook slower, some don't cook at all if you're unlucky. But here we have a almond butter lava cake. And again, you can make this kind of cake with any type of filling if you're not into almond butter. You could do peanut butter, you could do Nutella, you could do chocolate bars if you were so inclined. If you wanted to, experiment like a mad scientist, you could absolutely, put bacon in there. I don't know why you would, but you could. Yeah, there you go. Lava cake. 5 minutes out of a microwave. That's something I never learned at cook school. It's something I learned on my own. Our bacon-wrapped Brussels sprouts are done. So we're just waiting on our pork chops. And then we'll have a full dinner. These Brussels sprouts, they make great appetizers, but they also make good menu items as a vegetable. If you wanted to, fancy them up as a vegetable. I think of them more as an appetizer. Serving size on them is 4 Brussels sprouts. So, you're not drowning yourself in Brussels sprouts or bacon, but you're getting a decent amount before your main course. Nothing to complain about. Oh yeah, this cake is fantastic. I highly recommend you make it for yourself if you like any type of chocolate cake. I make them all the time I used to make them all the time at work out of coffee mugs. So any ceramic container will work well. Ramekins, bowls, mugs. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up real quick. Save myself some cleanup on the extra, or on the side while we wait for the pork chops to finish up. And then I'll give you a review of this $45 meal that will feed a minimum of 6 people, 8 if you stretch it. let me just plate some of these Brussels sprouts so you can get a look at them. All right, so here's the Brussels sprouts, all plated up, looking fine as hell. Another alternative for the Brussels sprouts that I forgot to mention while we were cooking them is that you can actually use turkey bacon if you don't want to use regular bacon. And I personally find turkey bacon to be the best bacon, but I'm a little weird. That being said, if you're not into turkey bacon, or you're not into bacon, or you're just not into meat, there's nothing to stop you from making these as a vegetarian option. God, I love that. While we wait for those pork chops to finish up, does anybody have any questions about tonight's meal or suggestions for next stream's menu? I wish I could share this cake. Be warned, if you make it the exact same way I do, it's going to be dark. Very dark chocolate. But there's nothing to stop you from getting, Swiss Miss or some lighter chocolate to balance it out and not necessarily roast yourself. So I've made this cake with a variety of fillings, because you're not limited to just almond butter. I just happened to find the almond butter version of this particular recipe to be my favorite version. Anyway, as always, the recipes will all be posted up on chefmckay.com shortly after the stream ends, give or take an hour. And I will be taking finishing photos of these to go with them, in case you want references. Peek on our pork. Coming along nicely. We're just about finished here. So next stream will be the 19th, and I'm thinking of doing another group meal like I did today. One you could serve your family if you're doing family this year for Christmas. If you have a family, you could be like me and not live with your family and live with a bunch of people who do their own thing for Christmas. But if you are doing with your family, I'm going to do another budget group feeding item, something to feed a larger group of people without breaking the bank. Because that was always something that pissed me off about family dinner at Christmas. We always spent upwards of $800 on the fanciest food items we could, knowing full well we wouldn't eat them. Knowing full well we could achieve the... Eventually, as a family, we switched over to just doing finger foods on Christmas Eve. Like egg rolls and jalapeno poppers. That's where I got my kick-ass jalapeno popper recipe from, actually. Which I am for sure going to be doing a whole bunch of appetizer foods on the 30th of December to give you guys, if you want to use any of the recipes I do. I'll be doing a whole bunch of party foods for preparation of New Year's. I'll give you time to look up the recipes, find any you want to do, and take things, or go get the ingredients that you need. So that's the plan for the 30th. We'll be doing... as a result, I won't be doing the stream on the 2nd of January, but, you know, I'm willing to break schedule for that one because it makes sense to do a quick, or in-depth episode for New Year's Eve. Jesus fucking Christ. What? $45? That's not that much. Not when you're feeding 8 people. Alright, so our pork chops are just about done. We're going to let them broil for the last couple minutes. So I'll let them sit for another 5 minutes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my family spent a lot of moolah. We're a big family though, so it wasn't absurd of us to spend that much. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pop some of these. So, a lot of people will tell you that the best way to do Brussels sprouts is to steam them. I respectfully disagree. I think baking them with a light glaze Yeah, 800 on the holidays. Family of 8, so. And we always had to have pies and cakes, and we'd invite all the neighbors over. And we'd have a big holiday party. And it would go great, except for me, because I didn't like doing parties. Good family. I love them to death. I just don't like doing holiday events with them anymore. So, yeah, next week on Saturday, I'm going to do a shorter, more scripted video where I walk you through the basics of what I consider Oop, I had a little hiccup, and that one was on my end. Are we good? Did we bounce back? All right, looks like we bounced back there. I don't know what happened. That one was on my end. Yeah. I love these Brussels sprouts. This is the way to cook Brussels sprouts. Even if you don't want to bacon wrap them, bake them. Give them a light glaze. Even if it's just a little bit of olive oil and salt, a light glaze before they go into the oven. They turn out perfect. Best way to do Brussels sprouts. I refuse to do them any other way. Next stream, I also promise to have a better camera solution. It's going to be higher up and angled down at the food so you can see everything I'm doing. Anyway, it's time to pull out the pork chops, or rather pork tenderloin. But I wish you guys could smell this. I'm not usually a big fan of the smell of pork, but the way this marinade makes it smell. It's divine. Very Christmassy too. I don't know. Ginger spice is one of those combinations that just is very rooted in Christmas. All right, so here we have our pork tenderloin. Make it look a little better, less anemic. They smell amazing. It's definitely a recipe that will make your house smell very good. Ginger spice is one of those things like, I don't know, pumpkin pie smells very, even though you can make pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving, or not at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, pumpkin pie is one of those smells that just screams November to me. Ginger spice screams December/Christmas to me. But because I'm guessing for me that mostly, God, I wonder if I need to enable link sharing and God, they're so good. No, it's not on my end. That's weird. I'm going to have to look into that. God, I wish you guys could taste these. These taste fantastic. Like I said, this marinade goes well with just about anything. I think you could even pull it off with beef, although I would stick with turkey and chicken if I were you, if you're not going to do pork. I don't know. Ginger spice is one of those weird flavors that doesn't go well with certain things, but goes amazingly well with others. God. If you're going to marinate it, I would recommend you marinate it as long as you humanly can without letting the meat spoil. I wouldn't go more than 24 hours. Oh, God. Not sure what. But the longer you let it marinate, the more tender it will be. That goes for every meat, especially if you have any kind of citrus in the marinade, because it will make the way citrus works with meat is it actually starts to break it down because it's slightly acidic, and it makes it very, very tender if you let it sit long enough. You don't want to let it sit too long, or else you won't have food grade meat anymore. You'll have broth grade meat, which isn't bad if that's what you're going for. But I like my meat tender, but not melting. Is a fantastic dish. Anyway, that's tonight's stream. Again, total cost of tonight's stream was $45. I did get some things on sale and on clearance, so it all boils down to how your grocery train around you is behaving. So good. So with that, we're done for the evening. If any of you have questions, comments, suggestions for next stream's meal, call outs for the budgets. I am thinking of setting up a Patreon account. I don't think I'll ever restrict any of my content or do anything like that. Just, something to help keep the channel going, keep the streams coming, keep the recipes flowing. I might do something crazy, like let the Patreon viewers set a hard limit for me on a meal. Make a meal for 5 people under $10 or something like that. Yeah, it will help offset the cost of production. Not that the cost of production is overly high, because a lot of the stuff I make, I turn around and immediately use as my lunches for the week that I cook, and I'll take them to work with me. So it's not like I make this food and I'm out at a loss. This is food I was going to make anyway, so I might as well share the recipes if they're good, simple recipes that aren't overly expensive. But yeah, I'll leave it open for another 7 minutes, and then we'll call it a night. Again, suggestions for next meal, next budget, because I currently don't have a budget set for next meal. I was thinking I was going to go a little under the $50 budget that I had set for this, but if you guys have a budget cost you would like to see me work with and see what we can do to produce a meal, a good meal, at a certain budget, feel free to toss numbers out and toss out some ideas. I might be convincing some of my cooks to occasionally pop on this cooking stream with me and help out. I don't think it would be a regular thing, but it's certainly something I would enjoy having someone. Let's keep it simple. Let's say, do I want to do beef, turkey, fish, chicken, more pork, or vegetarian? I can do vegetarian if I actually have some fantastic vegetarian dishes I love to make. I really wish I could find a way to share some of this food with you guys, because it is this particular marinade recipe is perfect for a lean meat, especially this kind of pork. YouTube, I know you're watching, you omnipresent mega corporation. You need to figure something out. Make a way for me to share food across the internet. Or buy me a fucking restaurant. I don't know. That would be fun. Have an actual physical restaurant, and every so often do a stream out of it, and people can actually show up and order food. I don't know if it would, take off and be a popular restaurant, but I don't know, it could be a fun idea. Well, anyway, we'll be putting out the recipes and the finished product photos. The cake will be a little mangled, but you'll get to see the insides, which is, awesome with lava cake. As promised, or as usual, all the recipes will be available on chefmckay.com. I'm going to say within 45 minutes of this stream going down. Yeah. Let's say, all right, I'll do turkey next stream. I will do turkey with a budget of $40. So I have to do $5 less than I did today. And I have to, I don't know, 5 portions for $40. Turkey's a holiday meat, isn't it? It's okay. My stream chats are never the most lively. Maybe that will change in the future. Who knows? But I enjoy the people I do have to chat with, and I wouldn't get rid of you to save the world. So yeah, next stream, which will be on December 19th at 6 o'clock at night, Mountain Standard Time, so 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you on the Eastern Seaboard. If you're in Europe, I don't know how to help you. But we will be doing a $40 budget turkey meal. And I think I will do an appetizer as well. So $40 for a turkey meal and an appetizer. I probably won't do another dessert, or if I do, it'll be something like the lava cakes, because they're just so cheap and quick. Turkey's one of those meats that require a lot of attention, so it will probably dominate the majority of next stream. All right. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask me before I sign off for the night, go ahead and do it. I'll give you the next 4 minutes, and then I am gone to upload all the recipes. I might do a cocktail next time, too. I don't know. I don't really want to step on How to Drink's territory. I like their channel. They're a fun channel if you like alcohol. They do cocktails and how to drink them. Great production quality, much better than what I do. No, that's not a paid shout out. That's just a YouTube channel I quite enjoy. All right. Well, how to drink. They're on YouTube. They make cocktails and then they show you how to drink them. More accurately, they make the cocktail and they show you how to make it, and then they drink it and they describe it to you. Fun channel, especially if you like alcohol. And I love me some cocktails, so you can bet I'm subscribed. I've made a couple of their cocktails that they've made. Yeah. And again, not a paid shout out, not a shout out of any kind. I don't have any contact with the makers of that channel. Just a channel that I would recommend if you like to drink cocktails or alcohol in general. Or if you're not an alcoholic, they also sometimes make sodas. One episode I really enjoy was they did a Sunset Sarsaparilla episode in honor of New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. That was a fun one. They made a soda, and they made my favorite soda, sarsaparilla. So, yeah, always a good thing. Anyway, I will get those recipes uploaded along with pictures of the finished product. That's all I've got for this evening. Look forward to my next video. It will be a much more scripted video than this. I'll just be talking about some ingredients that are very common in my pantry. Other than that, you all have a great night. And if you do decide to make these recipes for yourself, please feel free to show or to let me know in the comments, or send me an email or what have you. Blow up my site with pictures of your creations if you think your creations look better than mine, because I absolutely love food porn. Anyway, have a good evening.